I have always resented that full moons are traditionally interpreted as endings. And that's because to me, endings or completion, that really has a negative connotation or correlation, which really loses the sight of the infinite spirit, the enduring, the everlasting. And to be clear, this is really just my perspective. Every time I see a full moon in the actual sky, I think, wow, that's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And that's regardless of anything happening in my emotional life or other circumstances. I truly was a moon gazer before I even cared at all about astrology. Right? So when I'm looking at a full moon, I never feel an ending. So calling a full moon an ending is a bit like seeing the forest for the trees, at least from my perspective, or confusing the map for the territory. The chart as a map, sure, it shows an ending, but I feel that things are more alive than ever, and they only want to keep expanding, no matter the circumstances. And even if that expansion really is only in spirit. I'm a Cancer after all, and so I think I'm very moon biased. I say all of this because I never realized with such clarity before now how important it is for me to make that distinction between what fullness is and what an ending is. So to me, a full moon is about abundance and that type of fullness. And from that perspective, sure, there's a completion because no more fits into the cup, but the cup is overflowing. And in comparison, emptiness to me is closer to death. Emptiness implies a lack of material to churn, to digest, to offer, or sincerely work on, right? This feels more like a death, emptiness, that is spiritually correlated to the exhaustion of desire or the emptying out of attachments. I really think that this perspective on death and endings also is just reflected by my own personality and life circumstances. So I want to know, what direct experience do you have with death and how do you feel about full moons? For me, I have bared witness to people who have died, but on really either end of this spectrum I've created, and perhaps everywhere in between as well, right? I've known those who really felt physically or even spiritually empty who have passed. And I've also known those who feel really fully abundant in spirit. And that's the most confusing deaths to me, right? Are the ones that feel abundant, those who die young or with still so much to express, or so it seemed. But then I think, who are we as humans to attempt to understand why at all? Why anything at all? You know, I know there are many spiritual frameworks around karma, and I do also believe that everything is happening for a purpose. I do just think that we get into trouble when we think we can make sense of what that purpose is. And ultimately, this whole thing, even astrology, it's kind of a big joke that we think we can even approximate it, like I am doing right now, okay? But the point I want to get across here is that spirit is what remains despite the type of death or the ending. Spirit doesn't die and spirit can't die, right? My direct connection to spirit is through my mind these days because I can think of anyone that I have lost, whether that's an actual death or it is a friendship or a partnership that ended. I can remember through my mind the unified field that is really quite present and actually urging my participation through creating new thoughts around the things that are so called dead or gone, right? I can think new thoughts about people I don't talk to anymore or people I don't engage with physically. With all that said, I really do think this full moon is unique because I feel so deeply that there is an ending, a completion, an exhaustion. And I feel that with no resentment or problem. At this full moon, I feel like there is something that has been 3/4 emptied, which means something powerful has been used, like a tank of gas that now only has that 1/4 left. And I think we've used that 3/4 of the tank starting January this year till now. And the reality check that this full moon is showing us is that we will need to get gas from ourselves once this has run out. And I think we finally want to get this gas on our own without the same structure that supported us before, without the same access to resource that we had before. The reason we need this gas is because we are bringing a dream into reality, and this process will take really almost 2 decades. So there is an understandable confusion right now about how are we creating this new resource for ourselves that will support our short term while we're building out this long-term 2-decade process. Okay? And to be frank, I think we've run this loop several times already, fearing the loss of resource that has supported us till now, coming to similar moments of, wow, should I stop betting on myself and give up on this dream? And each time, we just choose to keep betting on ourselves despite lack of proof. And at each decision point, making small adjustments that often will get us somewhere, but not where we thought we were going. Okay? So keep talking, keep writing, keep moving forward by exchanging something, sharing your thoughts, all right? I really think it's important for you to individually solidify a direct and real experience with this moon, to go outside and look at it, and then contrast the feeling of when you look at the moon with the weight of your life right now. So much is riding on our return to emotional processing right now, which means that we need to be very honest with ourselves and how much we have grown over this last year emotionally. I think there's a sweet and really quite gentle invitation at this moon to pull back into ourselves and to emotionally reflect, right? To stop trying to become someone that used the last type of resource and really start expressing your emotional truth right now, which you probably have a lot to say and a lot to share, okay? So don't take in the astrology and think you know what this moon is about. Go to the moon and sit with her, okay? There has been a strong return that I think each of us has made to a deeper, more emotionally subjective why, beyond goals, beyond earthly things, but deeply stemming from the love and the care that others have offered us, the love and the care that others have allowed us to offer them. Okay? So let this sweet invitation to emotionally process be the apparatus through which you really allow your mind to change on its own this time and to ultimately forgive yourself. Okay? If you are interested to see how I came to all of these conclusions structurally through modern astrological rulerships, you can see on the screen I've been kind of hinting, but consider joining my Substack for just $5 a month. I'll be going through more deep dives on how I come to my astrological conclusions. The first 10 people to join my Substack will get a 50% off offer for a full reading with me. So if you are interested in that and you're interested to support me, I would be so deeply grateful. I hope you have an incredible full moon, and goodbye for now.